This week on This Too Shall Pass, I've recently had this conversation with my mom, and she told me, aren't you smart enough to vent in a healthier way? I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything. I just would like to see that I'm maybe not that abnormal that the family that I'm raised with makes me feel like. Everyone deserves a circle. It doesn't help me sitting in a home of married women. Everyone's happy and I'm crumbling inside. Welcome to the This Too Shall Pass podcast. Trust me, I know life can be. This is an inclusive space for our stories and lessons to be heard and learned from without judgment, because this too shall pass. Welcome back. It is episode 2. Episode 1 is done. So if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. I was super nervous, but I'm happy that I pushed through. So today, before we get into episode 2, I want to ask you, how are you? How's your week been? This is a week later. Has this week been good for you? Sometimes I always ask, if you want to in the comments, that little emoji, the hand, is it thumbs up, thumb down, or I don't even know if this is allowed, but there's a middle finger emoji now too. So how's your week been? I always thought this was an important question to ask. It's kind of mundane, and maybe we all just kind of say, oh, it's good, it's fine, it's good. But sometimes it's not good. You know, some things aren't fine. We are in summer break. It is a lot going on. My oldest son now is in high school football, so we have to be there at 6:45. 6:45, which means we all have to leave the house at 6:30, which means we have to be up at like 5 to even leave. And these are not small children, but they're still children. Some of them are small. 2 are in elementary school, 1's in daycare, and we're not all morning people. So this adjustment has been hard for us this week. We actually haven't been late yet, but I wouldn't count it out. 3 of my middle children, Haley, Terrell, and that counts sometimes. Haley, Terrell, and Aaron are in summer camp. They are liking it. They do a weekly field trip, and sometimes I used to feel guilt as a mom, sending my kids to summer camp when everyone else on Instagram seems to not be working and play with their kids in the yard all day with bubbles. I don't know how they're paying their bills. But I have to go to work, so I have to send my kids to camp. But they love their camp, and I like sending them. Because they go to a camp that is funded by the city, so they take them everywhere. We're in Orlando, Florida, so there's Disney World, SeaWorld, Universal, Fun Spot, Desertland. I think they went to some place called Elevate, where it's 3 levels of arcade, somewhere I don't want to go, with kids and coins and loud noises and clicking and a stroller that can't fit in the elevator. But my kids love it. And they have fun with kids their age. They're well supervised and they have fun. So I think as long as my kids are happy, I can kind of wipe off the shame of kind of feeling guilty. Because if they were all at home, sometimes it's hard to find one thing that a 15-year-old through a 3-year-old are all interested in at the same time. But if they're in a program for kids and it's catered to their age group that week, they love it. And it's at a discounted price because it's sponsored through the city. So my oldest son is at football conditioning, 6:45 until like 10. Take the other 3 to summer camp. They have a great job. And then my youngest, Owen, is 3, and he is in preschool. It was a hard adjustment getting him there, getting him to be like, at least to show all of his teeth when he goes in the room, instead of just viciously crying like if I wasn't going to come back. But he's adjusting so well. He loves it. He's having a good time. Every day I used to pick him up for like the first week. It was kind of sad because he was always playing by himself. He always had like a truck or a bucket, or he was on the side, but he didn't have a person. I felt like he was in his other classroom for so long. They all kind of turned 3 at the same time. And, you have the choice at that time to send your kids different ways. But it was nice for me to see and kind of be reminded that you have to earn your friends. You have to earn who keeps your company. Just because I love my son and I think he's a great person, I put him in a room with new kids, doesn't mean he's going to gel with everyone. It took him probably a good 2 weeks to get a solid friend. And every time I see that friend hugging him and running on the playground, it makes me smile. He earned his friend. He found his friend. They have a lot of fun. So that is my week so far. Everything is new. Locations, transportation, timing. We're making it. And I still have to be to work by 8. But we made it through another week, and we have made it through another episode. And again, we're here on episode 2. If you're here, welcome back. And if you're new, nice to meet you. My name is Ariel, and this is the This Too Shall Pass podcast. If you are streaming or listening to us anywhere where Audible is found, you can find us. You can give us a like, a comment, tag along. And if you are watching the videos, because they are fully recorded and posted on YouTube, you can find us there and subscribe and comment and like and share to your friends. And I'd appreciate it if you join my village, join my tribe, and we can get to know each other honestly, wholesomely, and telling the truth along the way. So again, this is the This Too Shall Pass podcast. My name is Ariel, and this is episode 2. So today we're going to get into vulnerability and transparency. What is that? What is that to you? If you're watching, I know they have a place to comment. I'd really like to know what does transparency mean to you? Is it only showing the good? Is it only showing enough that doesn't embarrass you or, doesn't make you stand out too far from the crowd? Is there a limit to transparency? Is there a certain amount you should not tell? And I don't want to say like fear of safety. I don't think anyone should put their internet or like your social or anything like that on the internet and say, oh, I'm being vulnerable or I'm being transparent. Like maybe if it involves friends or your kids or your family, is there a limit? Is there a red line? Are there things you should not talk about because, I don't know, make somebody else uncomfortable, even though it is a part of your life? It's a part of your story. And if you're transparent and you're talking about yourself, where's the line? And that line probably is different for everyone. I definitely know it's different for me in my house. My parents are from a completely different era. And I don't think that's bad either. Everyone has the right to be who they are. And whether we like it or not, we are a reflection or the product of what raises us. We can change a lot of things, but some of the nitty gritty sometimes sticks along with us. You got to work really hard to change it or let it go or not pass it down to your kids. So my parents came from a very strong time frame where, what happens in your house stays in your house. So yeah, we didn't talk about anything bad outside of our house. I don't think they do till today. I can be honest and be transparent and tell you that me having a podcast would probably piss a lot of people off at my Thanksgiving table coming up this year. Me being honest that, hey, I am divorced. He didn't just fall off the side of the earth and disappear and he's missing. No, we divorced. I went there on purpose. I signed it. And I'm divorced because he hit me for fun and I didn't like the fun. I'm a single mother. I am. And I'm not going to bring a random person every Thanksgiving to the table so none of you ask me, oh, you're still single? That's my version of being transparent or vulnerable. I only expose and express things that I feel like changed me, hurt me, shifted my outlook on life, maybe caused me to unlearn something that I feel like shouldn't really hurt you if I learned from it. Or if I went through it, I think you have the right to talk about it. And maybe you don't have to say the person's name. And sometimes I don't. I just talk about the situation. I keep saying ex-husband, this baby daddy, or my parents. I don't drop first and last names. I don't give you an address. I don't tell you where you live. So sometimes I think it's very hurtful when people are like, oh my gosh, you're talking about me. A hurt dog will holler. And maybe it bothered you because it is you. Maybe it bothered you because no one else had the balls to tell you what you said is mean or hurtful or offensive. And just because I'm not quiet, or what people think a typical divorced single mother of 5 should be, like, people want to see you down. They want to see you hurt. They want to see you exactly where they left you. And how dare you get up and smile and carry on and not let your baggage hold you back. That's what transparency is to me. I would love to know what it is to you. Has it ever caused any issues in your household, or maybe with who raised you or who's in your everyday circle? Have you lost a friend because you maybe vented to someone else and said a little too much? Or do you not share anything at all because you're afraid people will judge you? Or maybe you judge yourself. I love to see people confident, whatever that is. You can be bald-headed, long hair, dreads, fat, skinny, anywhere in between, tall, short. Someone who is confident is contagious. Someone who is happy in their skin is contagious. Their skin might not look like mine. Their hair might not look like mine. You know, we might come from two completely different paths of life, but someone who is happy in their skin, you can see it. Someone who tells their truth, like, you can hear it. It sounds different. So we're now going to go into her voice, her story. If you weren't in episode 1, this is the part where I will shout out someone. I might know them. I might not know them. Maybe I just came across them on social media and I thought their page was inspiring. Or maybe I walked into their business and they were doing something I've never seen before and I think you should know about it. Or maybe it is someone personal in my life that I think deserves a high five. That gold sticker we all used to work for in school to say, hey, you're doing a good job. You might not see it. Maybe no one says it to you, but I see you. I hear you. I'm watching you, and I want you to know that I love you and I care, and you're enough. So I love this person very much. That's why I'm smiling. This week's Her Voice, Her Story is Akila Salam. Akila is my sister, like my blood sister, but she's not a typical sister because I met her 7 years ago for the first time. Never seen her, didn't know she was alive, didn't know she was a person, didn't know if we had anything in common. I grew up in a household where I was the only girl of 2 boys. Akila grew up in a household where she was the only girl of 2 boys. I'm the oldest. My sister is the oldest. We both have 2 younger brothers. Listen, because it gets more similar and God is funny. My siblings in my house, it is Ariel, which is me, Colin, and Jordan. My biological mother's household turned out to be Akila, Khalid, and Jawad. Same initials, same order, not on purpose, not planned. 20 minutes on the other side of town and never knew each other existed. She has become like that buffer I needed in life. She's that person I can bounce ideas off of. She's that person I can call if I'm sad or happy or in between or not knowing. But now my sister is in a different stage of her life. She is now a first-time mom. And she's going through the realities of her motherhood experience not being exactly what she pictured for herself. You know, I don't think anyone conceives a child and says, I'm going to do this by myself on food stamps. No, I'm just going to thug it out. We're going to figure it out, me and this person that I've never met whose dad left and my heart still hurts. I don't think anyone says that. I think a lot of women do go into it intentionally thinking, hey, I'll have some sort of support. And she looks at me, and sometimes I feel sad because I think my sister looks at me and sees me with 5 kids, but she sees me with 5 kids 15 years in. I've been a mom for 15 years. I've made a lot of mistakes. I still make mistakes. But because she sees me somewhere not so much in the thick of it, more so we have a routine. We're on time. We're on schedule. We're punctual. We leave on time, too, because I like to go home. But my sister's in the beginning. She's only 15 months in. He just learned how to walk. He has 2 teeth. She's still not sleeping all the way through the night. She's trying to figure out how to be a present mom for the first time and still hold a corporate job and still go to work and not feel bad about choosing either or. But how do you choose either or to go to work or to stay home if there's no income? How do you go to work if there's no childcare? How do you stay home with your child if there's no income? Where's the bend? Where's the understanding? Where's the support? My sister has supported me for a long time, even when she didn't have a kid. She just had her first child. So I wanted to take this second to tell my sister that I love very much. I see you. Your son sees you. You're doing a good job. When I was going through therapy, a therapist told me, you are the best mother for your child. Doesn't matter, if you think you look sloppy that day, you maybe haven't eaten, you haven't showered, you haven't done something positive for yourself. You are the best mother for your child. The beautiful things about kids is I don't think they notice it. I don't think they notice that we didn't brush our teeth. Adults do. It's gross. We feel it, but they don't notice it. They don't notice it that we're in the same pair of sweatpants that we were in the last 3 days. They don't notice that we haven't changed our hair. We didn't get our nails done or go to the salon. They didn't notice any of that. They noticed that you were there when they woke up. They knew you were there when they were hungry. They knew you were there when they wanted to play and you were there when they went to sleep. That's all I think a child really cares about. It's the time. And time is probably the only thing we can't get back. And I love my sister dearly. And if she watches this, which I know she will, she'll tell me, oh my God, you did too much, but I love you. And I want you to know that I love you. And you are very important to me. Keep going. I'm not going to lie and say it gets easier, but the challenges change. And you grow a little every year. Your child will grow a little every year. One day you'll look up and you're done. And I want you to look up and be done and be proud of yourself because I'm proud of you. Okay. Not going to cry this episode. So we're going to move along. Topic of this week, again, like I stated, is judgment and transparency. So for me, I just tell my life like in a video setting. I kind of let you put your own words to it. Sometimes I write a nice caption, sometimes I don't. But I just want to put myself out there in my true form. I don't clean my living room or my kitchen before I record. I don't make my kids sit up straight and button up their shirts before we go somewhere. They don't always brush their teeth. And my boys are terrible at taking a shower. So we're just us. And I think co-living with my parents, we bought a large property, putting us all under one roof. We have a lot of separate main areas, like separate storage garages, separate living rooms, separate, bedrooms, split. The only things that we share is the kitchen and the living room. And it infuriates them that I don't, present myself poised and calm and not angry at all times. Sometimes I look crazy yelling at my phone or, I lose my temper with my kids. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a bad thing if you lose your temper with your kids and maybe you don't talk to them about it later. Maybe we can, sometimes we all yell together. It's not perfect in my house. And I don't want any of you to think because I'm sitting here on this podcast that I have it all figured out, because I don't. So that's my version of transparency. I will give you all of me, even if that part of me is underdeveloped, not honed in on, not perfectly crafted, not done yet, still baking, unhealed but learning. But it's currently who I am today. So it's not who I was yesterday and it's not who I'll be tomorrow. But currently today, this is how I feel. This is what I think. This is what I'm going through. And I think it'd be a better place online, personally, and probably in society if people were just honest. And I think it's okay some days to say, hey, I'm not having a good day. And I have a dark humor, so sometimes I do say things a little off. I don't mean it to upset you or make you feel uncomfortable, but it's my way of laughing through the discomfort. How do those around me feel about social media? They hate it. And that's probably the nicest way that I can describe it. And I've recently had this conversation with my mom. We were sitting on the porch and she told me, aren't you smart enough to vent in a healthier way? What does the internet give you? So what if someone on the internet says you're, whatever the topic was that day? But she's told me, shouldn't you find a better way to vent? And I asked her, I said, well, if we're family, right? You're my mother forever and always, and I will always be your daughter. Why don't I feel safe enough to talk to you? Why is it always discarded or the door's closed or, oh, I don't want to talk about this anymore so you can leave the room? I don't think social media is always for validation, but I do think it can give you the platform to speak your truth. And sometimes people just need to be heard. That's all I need it for. I have 5 kids that I raise on one income. No one is paying for us to get around. No one is paying my ridiculous car bill or my rent or my mortgage. My son turned 16 in a couple of months. I got to buy him a car and my insurance is going to go up. And I just got a discount because I turned 30. Now we're going back the other way. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything. I just would like to see that I'm maybe not that abnormal that the family that I'm raised with makes me feel like. Everyone deserves a circle. And I don't think anyone can win alone. And I think that saying of being the black sheep is very lonely. All the other sheep are white. All the other sheep have something in common. All the other sheep can look and see representation in their surroundings. Everyone deserves to feel included. So if I am the black sheep, then I'm going to go find other black sheeps so that I can see positive representation that, hey, she's a single mom and she's doing a damn good job and she opened this business. Or, hey, she's a single mom before and she figured out a way to get her kids in daycare. Or, hey, she's a single mom before and she figured out how to file for child support and get her, mental health back together. It doesn't help me sitting in a home of married women. Everyone's happy and I'm crumbling inside. Birds of a feather fly together, but you got to learn to fly first. And if no one in my surroundings, no one in my inner circle has been through anything close to what I've gone through, I instantly feel excluded whether you said so or not. Because there's no way you can relate to me. Personally, that's why I look for black therapists. I don't think it's appropriate for me to tell you how I'm scared for my sons to grow up and go out there in the world and maybe not be looked at or loved or given the benefit of the doubt like a white friend. And it's nothing about race and it's nothing about that child. It's the way society will view them, whether I say it or not. Some people think just not speaking about a topic makes it go away. It doesn't. And ignorance is not bliss. You have to speak about things that are uncomfortable, that make you feel uncomfortable, that maybe will affect you or your children. So yeah, if you're anything like me and you're a black sheep, maybe you've found your village. I think it is positive to always give someone a platform to speak their truth or tell their story, no matter who it affects. They always tell you to be who you are and be confident, but they put so many barriers or fences around it. Be confident, but not too confident. Be smart, but don't raise your hand first. Be strong, but let your man always take the lead. Be a good mom, but don't brag it in public in front of other people. No, just be you. And your circle, sometimes your circle finds you, and it's not always the people that are in your house. I love my parents and I love my brothers, but the way we express ourselves is completely different. And maybe they express themselves by not saying anything, and that is content with them. It burns me inside. Me swallowing my truth and not saying anything that I feel is hurtful, and it's not always said in a disrespectful way. You can speak up and not be rude. You can speak up and not be disrespectful. I just don't think like them. And I felt like a black sheep for a long time before my uncle said that I was adopted. It put a lot of dots together for me emotionally. It didn't make it hurt any less, but in a weird way, it gave me a little bit of, I'm not weird. I'm just not them. And nature is not always nurture. So the people in my close circle hate it. If my Instagram or podcast or TikTok and everything just disappears, they did it. They don't want me on here at all. But this is my choice, and this is my moment as a black sheep. How has my social media helped others? I actually didn't know it helped anyone. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I put my truth out there hoping to just have someone to relate to or with or learn from. I didn't know me positively raising my kids by myself would give someone else the courage to do it. I post videos all the time where women are like, I have 2 kids and I struggle. You're doing a great job. But it's sad that person on the internet said it, but I hadn't heard it in my house in months. Or I've always told you can do more. You're not doing enough. Oh my gosh, you're so lazy. I did 4 loads of laundry today and put it away. That is enough. That is a check mark in my book. And we will try again another day. No, I didn't sweep because I'm tired. No, I didn't cook a full course meal, but we're full. So I think my page gives people, I guess, a more realistic approach. It's not the cookie cutter perfect mom in the kitchen, where everything is aligned and organized. It is real life. And I think it's relatable because it is just that. My kids are not always well behaved. They're loud and screaming. And some people relate to that too. And again, I think it goes back to finding where you click, finding your circle, finding your tribe. Because I'll never fit in where everything is perfect. We won't. We have too many flaws, but I'm not ashamed of that. So I think my page probably gives people the confidence to know they can do it or it can be done. I had a woman tell me once when she watched my domestic violence video on Instagram that I gave her the courage to go get help or to look into ways to raise her kids by herself because she'd never seen it. She lives in a community similar to mine where everyone was still married. And she knew at that time that she could not do it. So she'll stay. And she'll stay and she'll stay and she'll stay. And maybe, those kids will grow up, but they've seen something. They've heard something. It's hurt her. Or, maybe she just never talked about it. But if you're not safe, you should always leave. And if you're not welcome, you should always go. Sorry, I already read that one. Okay, so on my social media, some examples that I show that I am transparent or vulnerable is my 3-year-old says bad words. He does. He is a parrot. So if I say the F word, in about 6.2 seconds, he's going to yell it from the back seat. Not with anger, not with intensity, but he's going to repeat it. And it's a mimicking stage. I've recorded it and posted it. So many people could relate. And then so many people also at the same side said, oh, that's a bad mom. Or you shouldn't curse. You should have said it a little lower so he didn't hear you. Or, oh, you recorded it and posted it and you're embarrassing your baby. My baby can't read. My baby doesn't have social media. He doesn't have an app. He doesn't have anything. He still uses my bed and I bought him one. How was he embarrassed by people he doesn't know? How is he embarrassed in a situation he won't remember? Tell me one thing you remember from 3. Oh, wait. Nothing. It's a mimicking stage. But with posting online, you get the good and you get the bad. I've showed my domestic violence. I've showed the little steps that I took to save money along the way because at that time I didn't have an income. I've talked about the school system and getting your kids assistance. My son Terrell has ADHD and I had to bust my ass to make sure he was in the right setting. He had the right support. He wasn't always labeled as the problem child in the classroom. I show morning routines. My kids trip, I trip, we laugh at each other, we tell jokes. It's just honesty. And I think that's what's relatable. It's not over-edited. I don't whiten our teeth. I don't make all of our clothes match. I don't put us in a fancy setting or a clean room all the time. It's just real life. If they said something funny, I might say it again. But they already said it. And they already thought it. My daughter wanted to see the new Little Mermaid because she was Black. That was the only reason she wanted to go. And people thought it was funny. My son is 15. He just got his new, at the time he was working part-time. He had no idea what taxes was. He thought someone was stealing from him. And he didn't know why there was lines of deductions on his check when he didn't buy anything. My daughter, sweetest girl in the world, Haley, said something in school that she didn't know would be taken the wrong way. She got an extra assignment at school and said, oh, I hate my life. And she had to go to the office and got written up because it is now, mental health is a big deal and you have to take all threats seriously, but she just wasn't serious in the moment. So I guess the only way that I'm really transparent on my page is that I don't always show us winning. People always want to show themselves crossing the finish line or buying that new house or look at my new car as I turn the key. But no one will tell you how many hours they worked to get it. No one will tell you what realtor they went to, how many classes they sat through the first-time homebuyers program. No one will tell you the nitty-gritty, how many times they cried, how many times they stumbled, how many times they had to start over. I show the in-between, not just the end. And I think how you got there sometimes is more important than where you are. If you can show someone your journey and explain it so someone can actually learn from you, I think that's useful. I think knowledge is only power if you pass it on. If you keep it to yourself, it does nothing. But again, that's just my thought. That's just my transparency. You may see it completely different. We are going to go on to Without Judgment. Here on this podcast, we're going to get Without Judgment emails. So you email it to us by joining our email list. You can also get information on merch or new details, episodes dropping. But the email for Without Judgment or any contact to this podcast at all or merchandise will be the Ariel B pod, P-O-D, not podcast, just pod, at gmail.com. So again, that's the Ariel, A-R-I-E-L, B as in boy, pod, P-O-D, at gmail.com. The question that I got today is a good one. When your ex is around, do you still fear him? I know that she's talking about my ex-husband because he's the only one that I've ever experienced domestic violence from. I'm not saying the other relationships didn't hurt me emotionally, but they didn't hurt me physically, if that makes sense. My ex is the father of my last 3 children. I've never been around him again alone. And maybe that's on purpose. Maybe that is a part of fear, but I don't. Co-living with my parents has also helped. So knowing that there's another male in the house, there's another, adult in the home, probably gives me a lot of, I'm not going to lie, it does. It gives me a lot of comfort. I don't meet up with him or I don't know who meets up with their ex-husbands, but I don't meet up with mine. So there probably is a little bit of fear there because I've intentionally never met up with him by myself. The last one we have is, what are your views on women who become bad parents due to lack of help? Are you a bad parent or are you just lacking help? Because that's completely different. A mother can be a good mother even though she can't afford daycare. So maybe are your expectations of what a mother is too high? Does it not fit your current situation for where you are right now? Or are you a bad mother, meaning and I hate to say this word because it's different for every situation, but are you purposefully putting your kids in harm's way? Do you not care, if they ate today or not, but you made sure you ate? Those are the kind of things that I consider a bad mom. If you purposefully hurt your children on purpose, if you purposefully put them in situations that could have a lasting effect, or hell, moms need to eat too. So I'm not gonna say because you ate, but everyone should be eating, not just you. That's kind of what I'm saying. So I don't know. I don't think you're a bad parent if you have lack of help. I just think you need help. So if you need help, the best thing that you can always do is find help. And that's easier said than done. But at the time when I had nothing, I just went to the courthouse. And I asked around. It was boring. It was embarrassing. I had a lot of questions to ask, but there's a lot of help out there, but you have to open your mouth. You have to be transparent and you have to be vulnerable for people to help you. You can't show up to a daycare and say, oh, I want my kid to go here, but you don't have the income. Maybe Google low income options for single moms, safe domestic violence shelters for single moms. Always keep your history or your search on incognito, I think it is, or you clear it afterwards because someone else can search your history and your spouse or person that you're with can know that you're trying to leave or looking for help, and maybe that can trigger something bad to happen, that's not probably wouldn't have happened if you didn't search, because that's something I had to learn. I didn't clear my search history once, and it wasn't a good night for the house. But I had to learn to do that, and it was a step that I had to take to make us safer. So if I had to learn to search and clear, then I'm going to tell you to search and clear. But I don't think a lack of help makes you a bad mom. I actually think you're a good mom if you're questioning if it makes you a bad mom because you don't have the help. You care. You're still there. People forget that being a mother is a choice. You don't have to be there. It feels good. They're your people. They're your seed, your blood. But you don't have to be there. I don't know what the age is at the fire station, but you can still take them there. You can still call whatever child protective services are in your area and say, hey, I've had enough. I cannot do this. I don't know why the world thinks that only dads can leave. Being a mother is a choice, and it's a hard choice. So if you have a lack of help, I urge you to find the help or email me, and I will try to help you find the help. But if you care enough to ask if it makes you a bad mother, you're not a bad mom. So as we end on vulnerability and transparency, I am crying again because it's hard for me to hear people say that they're a bad mother. I don't have an about me. I don't have an it's above me for this week, but I will have one for next week. I appreciate you all for being here. I love your company. I hope you enjoyed mine. Again, if you're listening, comment, like, or follow. And if you are watching us on YouTube, follow This Too Shall Pass podcast. And I'll see you next week. Bye. Make sure you follow the show for weekly episodes wherever podcasts are found so that you don't miss an episode. I'll see you next week.